I'm so excited to introduce you to our brand new Summer Solstice series. It is a seasonal rewind to some of our most powerful soul-infused episodes that blend strategy with that feminine woo we love. So whether you're poolside, road tripping, or sneaking in some quiet CEO time, this mini-series is your reminder that you can grow a business that feels just as good as it looks on paper. So we are going back to the heart of it all and pulling out some of our favorite episodes that are real talk about scaling with intention, building authentic relationships, making money without burning out, and honoring your intuition with every decision. These episodes are packed with timeless insights and grounding reminders that your business gets to support your life and not the other way around. So grab your sunglasses and your journal because this month we're diving into a soulful refresh that might just spark your next big move. Welcome back to this week's Pep Talk and continuing our strategy and soul series. This week's I am talking to you about how to scale by leveraging networking. And this is not a new topic, but I really wanted to dig into it a little bit more. So first things first, I thought it would be fun to pull notes from our brand new anti-social school curriculum. So I'm giving you a peek at what we teach inside anti-social school. So if you are tired of waking up and thinking, what am I going to post today? Or maybe you spent 4 hours on a reel that no one has watched yet, or maybe you just want to take a break from social media altogether, this is how. I'm telling you, your network is your net worth. So I have been able to build my business and help multiple clients do the same using social, but social is like a sidecar. It's like a magazine, and networking is the front and center strategy. So if you want to skip to the good part, you can go to hollymariehaines.com/anti-social and check out the curriculum. But now I'm going to go behind the scenes and actually share a little bit of what we teach. So trust me, I get it. When you hear networking all the time, you start to get nervous, right? You're like, what the heck does that mean? I don't have time to do this. But first, I want to talk about the power of it, right? So I have not had one single person, including myself, follow my anti-social framework and not see momentum in their business. So whenever you're looking for the secret sauce, which I know we all do, I would say this is it. And I don't often say that, right? So one podcast interview turns into 100 listeners. 100 listeners turns into maybe 10 new emails on your email list. And 10 new emails turns into one epic conversation and a sale. And now you multiply that by 100. So as an example, last year I spoke on, in addition to this podcast, over 100 different podcast summits, guest speaking opportunities. And that is the power, right? That is the power compounding your message over and over and over again. So today, I really want you to think about this. How are you growing your network? And I'll say it again. They say that your network is your net worth. So I want to take a mainstream example because it's happening right now. So Brendon Burchard, who runs Growth Day, just held a mastermind retreat of what I would call the inner circle of elite entrepreneurs. So we're talking about like the Jennas, the Amy's, the Jasmines of the world, and like 20 other people. Their network is so powerful, right? Think about if they came up with an idea during that mastermind and then they used all of their networks to sell it. They could probably make millions of dollars in like 30 seconds. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall for those conversations? I know I would. But the example is build your network so you can learn from them. What's working, what's not working, what trends are you seeing? But also, now you basically are piggybacking on everyone else's network. So their networks are now your networks. And in this example, all of these networks are combined. So let's use a book example. So in Hollywood, when a book or a movie comes out, what happens, right? They go on a press tour. So if you've been listening to this podcast, you know that I love the royal family, and Harry just came out with his book, The Spare, right? Well, what happened? They are on a massive press tour. They go on every podcast, every morning show, every news media outlet, every magazine. And then they call their friends and they piggyback on their friends' network to build their own. And what I'm saying is, you can do the same thing. This strategy is just as powerful for you and I as it is for them. And what I say, you and I are micro influencers, and micro influencers actually have superpowers. So let me dig into this a little bit more. So if you feel like, as I'm talking about this, you're like, oh my gosh, Holly, this sounds great, but I feel like I'm a tiny fish in a big sea, right? And I'm going to say, well, tiny fish matter. So micro influencers like you and I actually have super fans, right? So our followers are 22 times more likely to purchase from us than larger influencers. Why? Because they know you. They can relate to you. If you saw me right now, I'm literally sitting in my sweatpants before my kids get home from school recording a podcast. You can relate to that. So micro influencers like you and I are also known to have a higher engagement rate on average to the mega influencers. And this is because your my audiences are more likely to relate and develop a level of trust with someone who shares similar interests. And I say, trust is your superpower, right? So we create content, we share it in a way that creates trust. Trust creates authority. Authority creates sales. So as a micro influencer, you actually have a superpower to create trust, which in the end is going to help you scale because it's going to create more sales. So I know that's a lot. And if you could tell, I'm like waving my hands because I get really excited about this, but this is the masculine side of setting aside time every single week to network and work on collaborations. If you are not doing this, literally hit pause on this podcast right now and set aside 1 hour on your calendar every single week to build your network, right? What does that look like? Podcasts, summits, guest workshops, having coffee with somebody. Make it a priority. And P.S., I teach this entire strategy and hold you accountable while doing it in Antisocial School over the course of 6 weeks. So you can come join us at hollymariehaynes.com/antisocial. But I want to keep going with this little mini training. So the feminine side of this networking is mindset, right? And believing that you have the superpowers as a micro influencer to change the world. So I have literally just introduced you to what I think is the most powerful framework in business, connection, but connection in a way that is going to serve you and others. And to me, there is no better formula. So whenever we start something new at the first, it's like really, really exciting, right? So you're like, oh my God, this formula sounds amazing, Holly. I can do it. I can do it. But then as we get into the actions, we realize, okay, this is a little bit not as easy as I thought. And I say that because it's not hard, but it's not easy, right? It's not easy to find an hour a week. It might be a little nerve-wracking to pitch yourself to someone. And this is where the doubt fits in. And this is where the feminine strategy of really dialing into your mindset and things that we've been talking the last couple of weeks makes a difference. So Brene Brown says, vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. She also says, courage is not the absence of fear. It is just the ability to do something even when it scares you. So to me, it's like we have to show up. We have to put ourselves in the arena. We have to pitch ourselves. We have to work on making ourselves visible. And it doesn't have to be social media. So I'll share a personal story as it relates to the feminine mindset around networking. And that is, I'm currently taking Gabby Bernstein's Manifesting Challenge because, truth be told, I totally suck at journaling and I very much need detailed prompts and questions to actually follow through. So this week, the theme was abundance, right? And so I truly believe that building a solid network is a practice of abundance. And here's why. There is more than enough to go around. There could literally be 2 coaches, 5 coaches, 10 coaches that coach the exact same thing, and it doesn't matter. There's more than enough to go around. So how can you today, right now, practice abundance by helping somebody serve more? To me, it always comes down to one simple question, and I know we've talked about this in the last couple of weeks. How can you help? Trust builds authority, authority builds sales, and just help first. So this week, I want to challenge you from a masculine side to put yourself out there, schedule time on your calendar to really think about how are you networking? How are you getting more visibility by getting in front of more people? And then from the feminine side, put yourself in the arena and ask more frequently, how can you help? How can you serve more? How can you practice abundance? And in the end, build the most powerful network you can imagine. And if this episode has got you thinking, you're welcome to come join us in Anti-Social School. It has reopened and it's a 6-week cohort where I teach you the exact networking method I have used to not really rely on social media, grow this podcast to the top 75 in entrepreneurship. And even if you don't have a podcast, I teach you how to leverage relationships that scale. It is literally one of the most powerful groups I have ever hosted. And if you use the code Social Drama, you can save $500 as a podcast listener between now and the end of the month. So just go to hollymariehaines.com/antisocial and use the coupon code Social Drama. And you can save $500 right away. And we start February 13th.